This is Eric Riker, and I'm John Kilpatrick, and we have Okolona Aikido Club in Louisville, Kentucky. And today I want to go over some basic things about leading, and this time leading with your empty hands. So we have to start this off talking about breaking structure, and then we'll work into how you do this technique. So the first thing is, this is an exercise that Satomi Sensei taught me when I was an Aikido baby, and really it took me forever to get where I could do this exercise. So I'll explain it to you. I mean, he demonstrated, he didn't explain it. And I'll explain it so that it makes sense. But here's the exercise. And now obviously, this is not a technique done this way. If I come up and he grabs me, he's going to just hit me in the head. I'm not going to, so don't get the idea. I think this is a technique that you do in a fight. So, to do this, now this is just breaking structure. And when you break structure, there are three things you do. At least, and there are other ways to break structure, but the way we do it in Aikido, typically, there are three things. The first one is you rotate the person, then you extend them out, and then you just drop straight down. And sometimes you, like in the exercise we're doing here, you put the first two together. You put the rotation and the extension together. The drop has to be separate. The person has to extend out and then drop. Sometimes you have to have the rotation, then the extension, and then the drop. They all have to be separated and strung out. So when he grabs here, I do this not by using my arm, but by rotating my body. This is not your usual Aikido stance. This is more of a jiu-jitsu stance. But for what I'm trying to demonstrate, this is the easiest way to do it. So what I'm going to do this is I'm going to step back here. And when I step back here, it rotates his arm and extends it. And then I'm not going to pull on him anymore. I'm just going to drop. Now, if you stop, like I'm stopping now while I'm talking to you, he'll regain his structure and the technique won't work. So you can't stop. And when you do this, you don't jerk on your partner, you don't use any force or anything. He's just holding on with his hand. And what a lot of people try to do is they don't do this in stages. They think to themselves, well, I'm standing here and I'm going to make him fall down, so I want to pull him down. So they come back here and pull down. And when you do that, your partner just fights you. So what you do is you turn here until, now right there I felt tension. He's as far as he wants to go. And when he's as far as he wants to go, then I just let him fall. That's the first step. Now the second step is what most people call leading. And I would say that it's the first stage of leading. It's the way a beginner leads. It leads up to real leading. And so in this case, and you saw Sensei do this a lot in his demonstrations, but he would stick his hand out and the person goes to grab his hand and he leads them. And to do this, you have to know how to break structure, and you have to extend the person out and then just drop them. And this is extremely gentle. So I'm here, and it's just a very, very gentle motion. Now the next stage is where this gets really interesting. And we train this with these padded knives. And we do this because, in most Aikido clubs, they don't, at least the clubs I was grew up in, and the clubs that I see a lot on YouTube, they think that if he tries to stab me with a knife, I can just rotate here and not get stabbed. And our experience is, and this was very distressing to us, we can never do that. Or maybe occasionally Uki's asleep and you can pull it off, but if your Uki's alert, Uki will get you. And the way we train, typically it's full speed, all out training, and Uki can do anything. Uki's trying to get you. We don't restrict to the normal formal Aikido. We borrow from every knife fighting art we know about and use every trick we can come up with to stab the guy. And by the way, some of those you have to do special things to get these techniques working. Right now we're just looking at the principle. But if he just stabs and I don't lead, it's easy for him to turn the knife and stab me. So what we have to do is lead him. So when he comes in, and that's all we're doing, and this hand doesn't seem to be important. You know, you're looking at the technique, and really you watch O-sensei, and usually when he does this, you think he's just catching the hand. You think he's just coming here and catching the person. That's not what's happening. I mean, my hand may drop on his hand, but catching his hand is irrelevant to leading. So what's happening is, I put this right in front of him, and I have to draw it in front of him. And his attention locks onto this hand. When you do this right, Uki can tell you got it right, because all he sees from then on is the hand. And you can tell he did it right by the way, you don't get stabbed for one thing, but you can see how he moves. So, again, I'm here, this comes straight out, and then I just drop on him. And this is what we consider real leading. And what I just showed you, and we can do this front or back, if he has a knife in the other hand and he stabs, you can do the same thing. This is much safer, and because I'm stepping back, it's hard for him to get to me with the other hand. Besides, I'm striking here, and if he has a knife in his other hand or something, I can catch his other hand instead of hitting him and throw him that way. So this is real leading, where I'm redirecting him. He's trying to stab me somewhere in my body, maybe in my face, and I'm taking him and leading him right past me. And then the throw we're doing here is just a drop, and you can do any throw, it doesn't matter.